Welcome. Today, we're diving into the regulatory framework surrounding best before labeling. I'm Dr. S.K. Singh, and together we'll explore how these guidelines shape the way products communicate freshness and safety to consumers. Let's get started. Let's start with the basics, best before labeling. This is a regulatory tool designed to tell us how long a product keeps its quality when stored properly. Unlike an expiry date, it's not about safety right after that date. Instead, it focuses on things like taste, texture, nutrition, and overall quality. The goal here is simple: to give consumers clear, reliable info about how long a product will stay at its best. That way, we know what to expect throughout its shelf life. Let's talk about what a best before date really means. It's not about safety, it's about quality. This date tells us how long a product should keep its taste, aroma, texture, appearance, color, nutritional value, and how well it performs functionally when stored properly. For example, a biscuit might still be safe to eat after this date, but it could lose its crispness and flavor. So best before is about enjoying the product at its best. Let's talk about a key principle that often causes confusion: the difference between best before and expiry date. Best before focuses on quality. It tells us when a product might start to lose its flavor, texture, or freshness. Expiry date, on the other hand, is about safety and efficacy, especially for medicines and vaccines. After that date, using the product could be risky. So, while best before is more about moderate concern and usability, expiry date is critical and backed by rigorous safety studies. It's a vital distinction for both consumers and regulators. When it comes to best before labeling, several regulatory bodies set the rules we need to follow. On the international stage, organizations like the Codex Alimentarius Commission, the Food and Agriculture Organization, and the World Health Organization provide key guidelines. Regionally, authorities such as India's Food Safety and Standards Authority, the European Commission, the US FDA, and Food Standards Australia-New Zealand all play a role. Together, they define how shelf life is determined and how we communicate that clearly to consumers. Let's talk about the FSSAI requirements for best before labeling. These rules come from the Food Safety and Standards Regulations, which set clear guidelines on what needs to appear on food packaging. Every product must show the date it was made or packed, the best before date, and how it should be stored. For example, a label might say best before 12 months from manufacturing, with specific dates listed. The goal here is simple: to keep things transparent and help consumers make informed choices. Let's talk about how the Codex defines the best before date. It marks the point when a product is expected to keep its quality and remain fully marketable, assuming it's stored as instructed. This isn't about safety alone, it's about texture, flavor, and overall experience. Factors like the product's formulation, packaging, environment, and how consumers use it all play a role. For example, breakfast cereals might still be safe after the best before date, but they could lose their crunch and taste. When it comes to setting a best before date, manufacturers rely on solid science. They evaluate several key factors to make sure the date reflects the product's true quality over time. First, they look at physical traits, things like texture, moisture, and color. Then, sensory qualities come into play: taste, aroma, and mouthfeel. Nutritional aspects matter too, like how stable vitamins are and whether proteins stay intact. Finally, microbiological safety is crucial. The product must stay within safe limits throughout its shelf life. Let's wrap up with the key takeaway from our shelf life study on instant coffee powder. The best before date is set at 18 months. Up to that point, quality remains strong, aroma and flavor only show a slight decline, while appearance stays acceptable throughout. Beyond 18 months, though, the drop in quality becomes more noticeable, especially after 2 years. This kind of stability study helps us confidently set expiration dates that keep customers satisfied and products reliable. Packaging plays a crucial role in deciding how long a product stays fresh. It's not just about looking good on the shelf, it's about protecting what's inside. Key factors include how well the packaging blocks oxygen and moisture, how it shields the product from light, and how secure the seal is. Take potato chips, for example. In a standard polyethylene pouch, they last about 4 months. But switch to a metallized laminate pouch, and that doubles to 8 months. The choice of packaging directly shapes the shelf life we can confidently promise. When it comes to labeling, the best before date needs to be crystal clear. It should say something like best before followed by the exact date, or a clear time frame like best before 12 months from manufacture. The label has to be easy to read, permanent and visible. It can't fade or smudge. Behind this label, there's solid science, shelf life studies, stability tests, and product development data all back it up. And remember, regulators might ask to see this documentation during inspections. When best before claims aren't accurate, the risks stack up quickly. On the regulatory side, we're talking about serious consequences, product recalls, warning notices, even monetary penalties or product seizure. Then there are commercial risks, like consumer complaints and damage to brand reputation, which can force a market withdrawal. And finally, quality risks, losing consumer confidence and seeing an increase in returns. Each of these impacts can ripple through the business, so getting it right matters more than ever. Let's look at a real challenge with product stability and regulatory standards. Our vitamin-fortified fruit beverage claims an 18-month shelf life. But after 18 months, vitamin C retention drops to 76%, below the minimum 80% required for the nutritional claim. The takeaway: the best before date shouldn't exceed 12 months unless we reformulate the product or improve the packaging to maintain nutrient levels. This ensures the product truly meets its promises throughout its shelf life. When it comes to shelf life, manufacturers have a big responsibility. We need to establish shelf life based on solid science, not guesswork. That means conducting real-time stability studies, and when it makes sense, accelerated ones too. Using validated analytical methods is key, along with sensory evaluations to catch any changes customers might notice. Packaging performance has to be monitored closely. Stability data isn't a one-and-done deal. It needs regular review. Keeping thorough documentation is essential for regulatory inspections. And finally, labels should be updated whenever new data comes in. To wrap up, the best before label tells us how long a product keeps its quality. It doesn't mean the product is unsafe after that date, just that its best characteristics might start to fade. This date has to be backed by solid science, like shelf life studies. Regulations, both international and national, require labels to be clear, accurate, and based on real data. When done right, a scientifically justified best before date protects consumers, keeps companies compliant, and builds trust by ensuring products deliver consistent quality throughout their shelf life. Thanks for joining me today. If you need any further support or have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I appreciate your time and attention, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you. This video was created with SlideSpeak. Visit SlideSpeak to turn your presentations into engaging AI-narrated videos.